blog post about a year ago about perfectionism, and as it is currently exam week, I think it might be a little bit applicable. So I'm gonna read it to you guys and hope you enjoy. I should have known by age 12 that I was a perfectionist. I used to rearrange my bedroom furniture no less than once a week, completely recreating the feel of my room. Many times, I would change the hangings on the wall as well. My parents felt that I wanted to be an interior designer. I felt that I just liked the new arrangements. Either way, this was a constant thing for about a year. I craved the change, the ever-altering order of my furniture, the process of decorating and redecorating my walls with pictures and magazine cutouts. But no matter the arrangement, I was never quite satisfied, and I wanted to do it again and again. My bedroom was never quite there. Nothing was satisfying enough to keep me content for longer than 5 or 6 days. Nothing was comfortable enough, good-looking enough, perfect enough. And although I never fully realized until now, this made it hard for me to really even appreciate my bedroom at all. Some might say impossible. Perfectionism, by definition, is a personality trait where a person strives for flawlessness. Your average perfectionist most likely sets high expectations for the standards of performance and work and is very critical of themselves. Psychologists agree that there are positive and negative aspects, and that in some cases, perfectionism can be more severe than what we consider the norm. And this is called neurotic perfectionism. Neurotic perfectionists, or unhealthy perfectionists, generally strive towards unrealistic goals and feel dissatisfied when they cannot reach them. Scientists differentiate normal and unhealthy perfectionists in multiple ways. Normal perfectionists can be labeled as positive striving, where the individual strives for perfection but can still take mistakes and finds motivation in their goals. Neurotic perfectionists, on the other hand, fear imperfection. They consider their mistakes as if they reflect on their character, their self-esteem, and overall sense of self. With these negative types of thinking, perfectionism can be damaging. This is probably nothing new to you. But neurotic perfectionists generally suffer from anxiety and low self-esteem, not to mention that perfectionism itself is a risk factor for OCD, eating disorders, social anxiety, substance abuse, and depression. These types of people can rarely find satisfaction in their work, schoolwork, or overall performance, as they're too busy thinking of potential criticism, imperfections, or other flaws that might be there. There's a piece of this in everyone, a fear of imperfection and flaws. For neurotic perfectionists, however, their fears are not only magnified, but they're incredibly painful. My mom gave me a book on perfectionism shortly after I entered college. It's a sort of self-help book. You know, if you will, when she first gave it to me, I did 2 things. I rolled my eyes, and I put it in the far corner of my closet. I hadn't considered myself a perfectionist, and because of my ego, I was slightly offended. Up until this point, if I had called her to complain about an art project I was working on, she would bring up perfectionism. And at home, years before, with my complaints about whatever project I was frustrated with, she'd say the same thing. No matter how many times I ignored her, she said it enough that I was forced to remember it. It's because you're a perfectionist, Kristen. And about 6 months later, as I considered dropping out of college, I realized that she was right. I was a neurotic perfectionist, and it was ruining my life. See, the thing about unrealistic expectations is no matter how good your product is, you will always be disappointed. And because you're so caught up in whatever fairy tale dream you've got about the future, your finalized art project or your midterm paper, you're completely unable to see just how amazing things turned out. And you're blind as to what you've accomplished. Because when you see the reality of things, and that's what it is, the reality, all you can focus on is the fact that it's not what you had imagined. The differences between expectation and reality are the tiny little details that you focus on, and unfortunately it's really damn hard to zoom out and see the big picture. I have to be honest. I have no lesson, no enlightenment, no moral for this kind of story. If I were to try and finish this post with some sort of happy or sweet conclusion, I'd probably have to wait a good 10 years to do so. If I wanted to finish this post with some grand ending or some mind-blowing conclusion, I'd be incredibly unhappy with whatever combination of words I ended up choosing because of my perfectionism. If you'd like examples of how my thinking has impacted my life, you can look at many things. All of my unfinished projects, all of my destroyed finished projects, all of the blog posts I haven't published, all of the blog posts I haven't ever written, all of the videos that I have taken and not published, etc. This is an incredible obstacle in my life, because if you follow my patterns of thought, you know that nothing is ever good enough. Nothing will ever be good enough. And so that's why I'm gonna post this. As a tiny step in the right direction, I'm forcing myself to think and notice the fact that my expectations are warped. And you should do the same. But if I continue to think that everything has to be perfect, I will never be happy. And if I let these expectations stand in my way of completing my goals, I will never be satisfied. So I just have to complete them. And know that they're flawed. And realize that that's okay.